Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about ITVX and how the service might not be doing so well. You see, ITVX launched in late 2022. It was the revitalization or the evolution, the next step of the old ITV hub that had been in place. And ITVX promised to be not necessarily revolutionary, but it promised sort of to be like a step up from the norm, a step up from what BBC was offering with the iPlayer, a step up from what Channel 4 was offering with its streaming on-demand service, and so on. And you might remember I did a review of it back then, and it had some promise, it had some decent early signs, but there were some bugs, there were some problems, some of those that people still argue are present today. But why am I sort of proclaiming that there's doom and gloom about? Well, I caught this article from RXTV, as always, go and check them out. Lots of great articles on broadcasting, a whole lot more than what I just necessarily cover on this channel. But this article heads up with ITVX premium subscriptions decline. Now, decline is a word that no one ever wants to hear, particularly in the broadcasting world, especially with how tenuous of a position traditional TV seems to be in these days. It starts by saying the number of users who subscribe to ITV's premium streaming services dropped by a third, from 1.3 million to 0.9 million, or 900,000, in the 6 months that ended on the 30th of June 2024. So basically, for the first half of this year, those numbers have dropped quite considerably by around 400,000. Now, I don't doubt for 1 second that there will be a lot more than that who use ITVX generally. I myself just use the website. Again, generally, I have the free account version. If I want to watch anything on ITV, I'm going to be watching it with ads, especially on ITVX. I'm kind of fine with that. Not everybody is. That's totally valid. But then again, I have too many subscriptions as it is, not just to streaming sites, and I don't want to be paying more money for something I know I'm not going to use that much. Anyway, I digress. Let's continue on, shall we? The figures have been found because they're buried deep in its latest financial report, which was published this week. I mean, if things are getting buried deep in financial reports, you know that that's not a good thing either. The drop in paying users follows a simplification of its premium streaming service this spring when it closed down the standalone BritBox UK app. It seems the broadcaster couldn't persuade more standalone BritBox UK users to switch across to ITVX Premium, which also includes BritBox alongside exclusive collections from Hey You Select and Studio Canal Presents. Now, I've got to be honest, the ITVX library on the whole, from what they include, particularly with the BritBox inclusion and Studio Canal Presents, that's a pretty hefty library right out of the gate. I think the thing with the BritBox migration, I never really thought they made it as clear as they could have, that if you had ITVX Premium, you were also getting access to the BritBox library. Because the two sort of existed in tandem for a little bit, and I can't remember what the process was. It was like if you had a BritBox account, you were eligible for an ITVX Premium account. I can't remember the way it worked, but as it says, when BritBox UK closed as a standalone app, customers who were just on that were not tempted to go on to ITVX. And I think it goes to show a lot of people, we subscribe to these services and we just keep them rolling. Most of us pay, I'd argue, by the month rather than by the year. And sometimes we let those things roll. If our finances are generally steady or we're not falling in the red, then we just let those subscriptions continue to run and run. But then when presented with a big glaring thing like, hey, BritBox UK is closing, do you want to continue on ITVX? And people might just think, well, no, it's sort of like the excuse they've been waiting for, even if the libraries they're getting are vaster or totally different. So it's a shame that they haven't been able to convert more of those users over. And does the BritBox branding even survive in ITVX? I don't think it does it? Let's just continue on for a second. It says ITVX Premium also offers fewer to no ads to users viewing on-demand programs. It currently costs $5.99 a month or $59.99 for an annual subscription. Now, I've got to be honest, for the streaming services we've got where you have to pay, there's a paid option, $5.99 a month these days isn't that bad at all. Considering a lot of, like Netflix, Disney Plus, even if you're getting versions with ads, I believe they cost even more than that. In fact, I want to do a little price comparison. Okay, so I'm on Money Saving Expert, which is the site founded by Martin Lewis, who's a very prolific financial guy who helps people save a lot of money. Now, in terms of the online streaming world, let's have a look. So in terms of free, you've got Channel 4 there, which has the free version with ad breaks. And it says you don't need a TV license to watch these online, but you'll need to register for free to watch them, or you can pay $3.99 a month or $39.90 a year for no ads. So that's not a pretty bad deal. That's actually cheaper than what ITVX is offering, and you don't hear Channel 4 suffering at the minute, at least not publicly. BBC iPlayer, of course, is free, although it claims you do need a TV license, so it's arguably not free, you know, give or take. ITVX, of course, as mentioned, we know what the price is there. We've talked about that. Then there's You. Oh, good old new You. So it says free TV shows and box sets with ads. And is there I don't know if there's a paid version of that. There's Tubi. We talked about Tubi not too long ago. There's also Pluto TV, which is also free, completely free, it says. Then we get on to the main subscription ones here. So Amazon Prime Video, you can get from $5.99 a month as well, which is £4.49 a month or $47 so that's a student discount, okay. But $5.99 a month, so that's on par there with what ITVX is offering. Apple TV, £8.99 a month, considerably more expensive. Discovery Plus is £3.99 a month, so again, that's cheaper than ITVX, although I'd argue Discovery offers a lot more, content that is more focused, you know, with things like sports and whatnot. Disney Plus, okay, £4.99 a month with ads, and then from $7.99 a month without ads, although it is worth noting some of those Disney Plus plans are as high as £10.99 a month. You've got ITVX Premium mentioned there again at the $5.99. You've got Mubi, I don't know what Mubi is, but it's £11.99 a month. Good God, you get 30 handpicked films a month. That seems like a lot of risk for not a lot of reward for me. My5 is free. It says it doesn't have a paid option, apparently. Netflix is $4.99 a month with ads and then $10.99 a month without ads. So again, Netflix technically is cheaper than ITVX, provided you're happy with ads. Now Entertainment is on here as well. That is $9.99 a month. That's quite pricey, really. Although it's $6.99 a month if you sign up for 6 months. But still. Now Cinema's $9.99 a month. Paramount Plus is $6.99 a month. And Sky Stream is £26 a month for an 18-month contract. Good God. But basically, ITVX is on the cheaper end of the subscription services available in the UK, right? It's considerably cheaper than some of the others, although some of them hovers on the same level. Back to the article, it says ITV said it expected the move would have a short-term impact on subscriptions and our subscription revenue, but the numbers had performed as expected. However, the broadcaster admitted that in the coming 2 years, the company would prioritise its ad-funded proposition over our pay proposition to deliver the best return. That's a very interesting way of going about it, really. It's sort of banking that it's more happy to go with the ad-funded version. So for me and you, that would be the free version of ITVX that would run adverts, which would generate a revenue, as opposed to the pay proposition. And, you know, there's been a lot of contention in the advertising world on TV. But there's been a lot of advertisers moving away from traditional television, even the on-demand services like ITVX, like Channel 4, etc. There's a lot of people moving away from that model because they think the advertising revenue is now more in like social media directly, on the apps, on things like TikTok, on YouTube. So ITV prioritizing, I should say, the ad-funded proposition is certainly an interesting move, because I thought they would have wanted to go for the pay option or prioritize that. And they're claiming the numbers have performed as expected. They're claiming they expected this drop. Okay, I'll take your word for it, but from what I understand, companies don't like seeing this decline at all, even if you expect it, so hopefully for them that will raise. In terms of ITV's plans for the year ahead, it says ITVX is going to launch on the Apple Vision Pro, which is Apple's new virtual reality device, and ITV also plans to boost the discoverability of ITVX on third-party platforms. That's right, there are some platforms still where ITVX doesn't seem to be available, and I know rollout on those apps can take some time, but you would have think it'd be on most of the major things by now. If it's going to be on the Apple Vision Pro, it's got to be on some of the other things too, right? It plans to do this by creating additional links that bring users directly into ITVX from the main screens of their devices. The broadcaster wouldn't provide further details about these plans. Well, again, that just sort of makes sense. That seems like the common sense thing to do, but they've been very vague about it, which doesn't help. Towards the end of 2024 and into 2025, ITV has confirmed it will launch linear addressable advertising on Sky Glass and Sky Stream. It will also roll out ad replacement across our fast or streaming-only channels and simulcast on connected TVs. Right, so it's pushing that linear advertising. We're rolling out ad replacement on the fast channels and stuff like that. This seems to be the direction that they're leaning in. In terms of ITVX itself as a service, I'd argue this doesn't immediately put it in red flag territory, like it's going to shut down at any minute. Obviously, ITV is a vast network. It occupies a lot of revenue. It has the means to continue funding this. A reminder, though, for what you actually get with the premium version of ITVX, in case anyone forgot, is you get hundreds more films and TV shows, including that BritBox network. You get to watch ad-free. That'll be a big appeal for a lot of people. You get to cancel anytime, although there's a little asterisk there. And you can download on the go. So, premium features, and again, £5.99 a month compared to the other streaming ones that we looked at. It's not the worst in the world. There are some that are offering it for cheaper, such as Channel 4, for example, is one of those. Discovery Plus technically is as well. But, sort of between the £4 to £7 range seems to be the sort of sticking point a lot of these streamers are going for in terms of an ad-based service, with it being considerably more expensive. But, considering, let's put it this way, though. With ITVX, right, for $5.99 a month, you eliminate ads. Whereas Amazon Prime Video, I believe there are some ads in that. And even on Netflix, for example, right, which is one of the biggest, £4.99 a month, but you're still getting ads. For an extra £2, you can jump to ITVX and eliminate ads entirely. So I guess it really depends on your preference on what you want to go for. A lot of people have at least one streaming option that they subscribe to. Some have more than that. I used to have quite a lot of these. I've dropped out of a lot of them because I found I wasn't watching any of them at all. So naturally, same with ITVX, you've got to assess whether it's worth the bang for your buck. And it's interesting as well because when you look at the most viewed shows, this is from the week the 15th of July to the 21st of July 2024, ITV programs show up a lot there, and it makes me wonder how much of those viewers are taken into account via the catch-up services like ITVX in this case. I mean, looking at the top 10 alone, ITV has McDonald and Dodds, and then Coronation Street occupies some of the top 5 there with around 4 million-ish views, and I wonder how many of them actually come now from the streaming service. So, on the whole, I'd argue no matter what ITV try and say, it's not good that they're losing these paid subscribers. It's never good for any streaming service to lose its paid subscribers. Obviously with ITV, because it also generates revenue from general advertising, whether that be linear or digital, they do sort of have an out, I guess, and it seems like that's the avenue they want to prioritize rather than the paid one. Whether the paid numbers are going to decline, I mean, they stand at around 900,000 at the minute. Are they going to sink below 500,000 in another 6 months' time? We'll have to wait for that report. But I just wanted to touch on it because I do think it's interesting that ITVX is basically about 18 months old now, about a year and a half. And generally, from the comments I've seen and also people I've talked to about it, they don't mind the service. A lot of people I've talked to say they find it more functional and more appealing than the old ITV hub system, but there are people who say bugs still persist. The live TV isn't as efficient or smooth as, say, the iPlayer is at this point, so it seems like there are some niggles that still need to be worked out. But that is all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please remember to leave a like. It really does help us out. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below as well. Do you think ITVX is in any kind of trouble or is on sort of a downward spiral? Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're brand new. We'd love to have you aboard. In the meantime, I've been Adam Martin from AMTV. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Bruce Danton, Derek Chambers, Shaun Knock, Daud Khan, Liam De-Maine, Trev Hughes, Dec, Evan Hart 41, Jen, Tim Ripley, Mr. Eurovision 1986, Ted Elliott, John Wakefield, and Marnanel Thurman, our AMTV staff members.